Hey Oasis, Pastor Caleb here. As many of you well know, after nearly 5 months of in-person services with absolutely zero occurrences of COVID-19 within our faith community, we suddenly and unexpectedly experienced a bit of an outbreak of our own. In just 1 week's time, we had several dozen individuals who became ill, many of whom tested positive for the COVID-19 virus, myself included. Concurrently, we experienced a broader outbreak in the community of Churchill County and Fallon as a whole. And as a result of all those things, it came upon the elders and myself to decide to move our services to a strictly online format until at least the end of November. Well, now that the end of November has come and gone, and those individuals in our church who were ill have found their health again, at least to a reasonable extent, we have to decide what we are doing moving forward. And I have to be honest, this was not a very easy decision to make at all. The statistics for COVID-19 in our county are in many ways no better today than they were 3 weeks ago. At the same time, on the other side of the aisle, we've had a very significant decision on reversal of policy from the Supreme Court regarding the government's ability or lack of ability to restrict the size of in-person services for religious institutions such as ourselves. Now, we know that many, perhaps most of you, probably have some very strong perspectives on what we ought to do moving forward. Some of you want to give preference to your personal health and the health of your family. Others of you are urging liberty in areas of your life where you feel like your personal freedoms have been limited or restricted. And with all of this in mind, we have made the decision to begin allowing people back into the building beginning this Sunday, December 6th, for our 9 a.m. and 10:45 a.m. services. I'll tell you that this move ultimately stems from a feeling that it is not the church's responsibility to actively limit the ability you have to freely engage with risks that you may want to take on or that you feel are necessary for the fulfillment of your life, your faith, and your personal growth. See, life provides us with a plethora of dangers of every shape, size, and probability. And while the church does have a responsibility to urge caution and wisdom in how you choose to engage with those various dangers, our responsibility to limit your ability to engage them, that responsibility is far more limited. So while we will keep the doors of the building locked on Sunday morning, we will also urge caution. If you are at risk, or are you frequently close to those who are at risk of serious infection from the COVID-19 virus, then we plead with you to please remain home and continue engaging with our church in an online format. There's absolutely no shame in attending church right now from the comfort of your living room couch in your pajamas, not during a season of life where the world looks like it does today. I want you to understand that from where I sit, you are no less an active participant in our church community from your living room than you would be if you were standing in the building with us. For those of you who decide that you want to come and be with us in person, I want to ask you to seriously consider wearing a face covering when you do. While I will not be engaging in any personal conflict with you depending on your willingness or lack of willingness to do so, as far as acts of service to our fellow believer are concerned, wearing a mask is a fairly minimal accommodation of love to the people around you. The last thing I want is to be visiting another dozen or so people who have fallen ill because they attended one of our services in person. And so on behalf of the elders and myself, I'm pleading with you to show love to the people around you by renewing your commitment to wear a face covering if you attend our services in person. In addition to these requests, I must inform you that at all of our services, we will not be having childcare of any kind. Unfortunately, it's far more difficult to keep children from spitting and drooling on each other than it is adults, at least in theory. The last thing we would want to see is during a season like this in Christmas, when there's much traveling between family members and loved ones, We would hate to see your child become somewhat of a COVID bomb and bring a potentially dangerous bug into your home when there should be happiness and joy and peace. We also must again cease to serve breakfast before our services for the time being. While we are confident that food was not a part of the viral spread we experienced a little over a month ago, we do understand that it is a possible part to play in any potential spread that could take place in the future. So we feel that it is prudent for us to cease serving breakfast before the services again at this time. So in summary, beginning this Sunday, December 6th, we will allow people into the building for our 9 a.m. and 10:45 a.m. services. We urge you to wear a face covering if you decide to attend. And again, we urge you to stay at home if you are at risk or are frequently close to those who are at high risk of severe infection from this virus. We will not be providing childcare in any form at any of our services in person for now. And I want it to be entirely clear that our focus, our primary goal during this season as a church, is still to produce and facilitate a community of online fellowship during our 9 a.m. services. And for most of you, that ought to remain the way that you still engage with church if you are capable and willing to do so. It should also be said that if you lack the technological knowledge or capacity to engage with church online, that does not mean that you have to come in person. You can reach out to us at the church. We have individuals, including myself, who would be more than happy to come by and help you learn how to use your technology to effectively engage in church online. In so many ways, this season of life has been odd and unique. But in at least one way, it has been entirely normal and average. Every single stage of life requires each and every person to decide how best to proceed given the situation before them. That has not changed from last year to this year at all. And I want you to know that whatever you decide, we love and support you in it. So have a blessed evening and have a very Merry Christmas.